Hello viewers, it's a beautiful day. Alright, before us is solving quadratic equations by completing the square method. There are different methods for solving quadratic equation. We have the factorization method, we have completing the square method, we have the formula method, that's the quadratic formula which many students call almighty formula. Then we have the graphical method. So there are other methods, but for the secondary school level, these are the four methods basically. Okay, so today we are looking at completing the square method, and the first question before us is solve the quadratic equation. Solve the equation x squared plus 12x plus 27 equals to 0. So we'll start with the question itself. So we have x squared plus 12x plus 27 equals to 0. The first thing to do to solve this quadratic equation is to check for the coefficient of x squared. What is the coefficient of x squared? The coefficient of x squared is 1. Since the coefficient of x squared is 1, then we can proceed without any issue. Okay, so this is the term in x squared, this is the term in x, this is the constant. So the first step now, since the coefficient of x squared is 1, is to isolate the constant term. So how do we isolate the constant term? It is by writing the expression or the equation as x squared plus 12x equal to negative 27. Because if plus 27 cross the equal sign, it becomes minus 27. So this way we have been able to isolate the constant term. That's what we mean by isolate the constant term. Okay, since we have isolated the constant term, the next thing to do is to complete the square on the left hand side. We are going to complete the square on the left hand side. So how do we complete the square on the left hand side? It's already in one of my videos that I produced before now. So to complete the square on the left hand side, we are going to get the coefficient of x. The coefficient of x is positive 12. So what do we do to positive 12? This 12, we are going to multiply it by half. That's to halve it, and that's going to give us what? 6, because it becomes 12 over 2. 12 over 2 is 6. And what do we do to 6? We are going to square 6. When you square 6, it's going to give us what? 36. So once we add this 36 to the left hand side, we'll be able to complete the square on the left hand side, because 36 is the number that must be added to this left hand side to make it a perfect square. So we'll be having it as this: x squared plus 12x and then plus 36. So we have completed the square on the left hand side. Now whatever we do to the left hand side, we also do to the right hand side. So this is going to be negative 27 also plus 36. Because this 36 was not there, we have added it, and it has to be added to this also. Now what do? We are going to summarize the left hand side, and we are going to evaluate the right hand side. I take that again. We summarize the left hand side and then evaluate the right hand side. So how do we summarize the left hand side? It is by writing it as this: x squared plus 12x plus, how did we get this 36? It is from c squared. So that's 6 squared. And that's going to be equal to negative 27 plus 36. So this is x squared, we need only x. And this is plus 6 squared, we need only plus 6. Both of them in bracket, then they will be squared. So we have summarized the left hand side, or if you like, tidy up the left hand side. So we have been able to summarize the left hand side or tidy up the left hand side. Now what do we do to the right hand side? We evaluate the right hand side. So we have minus 27 plus 36. So what is negative 27 plus 36? If you punch that into your calculator, you'll be having 9. So x squared plus 6 b squared is equals to 9. So you have summarized the left hand side and evaluate the right hand side. So what is the next thing now? Since this is squared, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides so that this square value can be dealt with. So that's going to be x plus 6, because the square root of this, when you take square root of this, the square root is going to deal with the square, so we'll be left with only x plus 6. and that's going to be equal to. So when you want to take the square root of the right hand side, you are going to introduce your plus and minus sign, and then you are going to have what? 9. Why is that? Because if you take the square root of 9, it's going to give you both plus 3 and minus 3. Plus 3 times plus 3 is going to be 9. Minus 3 times minus 3 is also going to be what? 9. So that's why when you're taking the square root of any whole number, you're going to have to include what? The plus and minus sign. So we are having x plus 6 equal to plus and minus 3, because square root of 9 is actually 3. Okay, so what is the next thing? These are two solutions embedded in one equation. So we're going to have to break up these two solutions. But before then, let's transfer this 6 to this other side by way of what? Collecting like terms. So we'll be left with only x here. That's going to be equal to, if plus 6 crosses the equal sign to go to the other side, becomes minus 6 plus or minus 3. And in that case, we can have it as what? X1 equal to minus 6 plus 3, using the plus sign only, and x2 will be equal to minus 6 minus 3. Like I said earlier, these are two solutions embedded in only one equation. So the two solutions have been broken up, they have been broken apart. Okay, so x1 now will now be equal to negative 6 plus 3. That's going to give us negative 3. We press that into your calculator. And our x2 minus 6 minus 3, that's going to give us minus 9. Also when you press it into your calculator. So the two solutions for this particular equation, or the two values of x that make this equation to be equal to what? 0, are x1 equals to negative 3 and x2 equals to negative 9. So this is question 1. We'll proceed to question number 2. 2, we have solved for the values of m in m squared plus 5m minus 24 equals 0. Okay, so that's question number 2. Now, when they say solve for the values of m, it's just the same thing as solve the equation, because when you are solving the equation, you are solving for the values of m at the same time. And still, the method we'll be using is completing the square method. Okay, because that's the topic we are dealing with. Okay, so we have m squared plus 5m minus 24 equals to 0. The first thing, like I did, is to do a quick check. What's the coefficient of m squared rather? Coefficient of m squared here is what? Is 1. It means that we can proceed with our work. So the next thing to do is to what? Isolate the constant term. And we achieve that by writing m squared plus 5m equal to, if minus 24 crosses the equal sign, it's going to become plus 24, which is ordinary 24. So we have been able to isolate the constant term. The next thing is to complete the square on the left hand side. And how do we complete the square on the left hand side? Like in question number 1, we are going to get the coefficient of m. The coefficient of m this time around is positive 5. So what do we do to positive 5? We are going to halve it, multiply by 1 over 2, which of course is going to give us 5 over 2. And then we are going to pick our 5 over 2 and square it. That's going to be 25 over 4. So it is this 25 over 4 that will be added to the one on the left hand side, the expression on the left hand side, to make it a perfect square. So we're having it as m squared plus 5m and then plus 25 over 4. And don't forget, whatever you do to the left hand side, you also do to the right hand side of the equal sign. So that's going to be 24 also plus what? 25 over 4. It's 24. And then this 25 over 4 added to the left hand side and also added to the right hand side. And then another thing you should take note of is that whenever you're having what? A whole number, the whole number always has a denominator of 1. Okay, so the next thing to do now is to tidy up the left hand side. When we tidy up the left hand side, we're going to what? To evaluate the right hand side. So how do we tidy up the left hand side? We're going to have this as m squared plus 5m and then plus, instead of writing 25 over 4, we'll be writing the representative of 25 over 4, which of course is going to be what? 5 over 2 in bracket to be squared. That's going to be equal to, so we look for the lowest common denominator of these two fractions. The LCM of 4 and 1 is 4. So we say 4 divided by 4, that's going to be, 4 divided by 1 will be 4. And then 4 times 24 is going to be 96. Plus 4 divided by 4 will now be 1. 1 times 25 will still remain as 25. Okay, so we want to summarize this, write it as a bracketed what's it called, square. And since we're having m squared here, we'll be writing only m. We're having 5 over 2 positive, so that's going to be 5 over 2 also being squared. So equal to. So what is 96 plus 25? 96 plus 5 is 101. 101 plus 20, that's going to be 121. So that's 121 over 4. Okay, that's what we have on the right hand side. So the next thing now is to take the square root of both sides. So that's going to, when we take the square root of this, we'll be left with m plus 5 over 2 only, because the square root would have dealt with the square value that we have here. And then in taking the square root of the right hand side, we are going to introduce our plus and minus sign. That's going to be 121 over 4. Okay, bringing this out of square root sign, we'll be having m plus 5 over 2 equal to plus and minus. Square root of 121 is going to be 11, and square root of 4 is going to be what? 2. So we're having plus and minus 11 over 2. Again, remember, these are two solutions embedded in one equation. So what we need to do is to collect like terms first of all, and that's going to be m equals to, if plus 5 over 2 crosses the equal sign, it's going to become minus 5 over 2. And then this is what it was coming to meet, plus and minus 11 over 2. Okay, so we are going to have to break apart these two solutions that are embedded in only one equation. And so what do? We are going to be having what? M1. M1 will now be negative 5 over 2, that's minus 5 over 2 plus 11 over 2. The plus first of all, 11 over 2. And M2 will be equal to still minus 5 over 2, this time around minus 11 over 2. Minus 5 over 2 minus 11 over 2. Okay, so these two are having the same denominator. Just pick only one of them. That's going to be 2. Minus 5 plus 11, that's negative 5 plus 11. That's going to give us what? 6 over 2. And then the denominator also are the same, 2. So this time around is going to be negative 5 minus 11. So minus 5 minus 11 is going to give us minus 16. Of course, when you work this out, m1 is going to be equal to what? Positive 3. And m2 will be equals to negative 16 divided by 2 is going to give us what? Negative 8. So the two solutions, or the two values of m, for which m squared plus 5m minus 24 equals to 0, are m1 equals to 3 and m2 equals to what? Negative 8. So this is question number 2. Question number 3 is one that the coefficient of m squared will not be 1. You see, the first question we solved, the coefficient of x squared was 1. Here, the coefficient of m squared is equals to 1. But when we proceed to question number 3, I'll make sure that the coefficient, the leading coefficient, will not be equal to 1. And then you see what we can do when the coefficient is not equal to 1. Proceed. Question 3. 3x squared minus 13x plus 10 equals 0. That's what we are solving for. So we'll do a quick check. What is our quick check? To look for the coefficient of x squared. That's the leading coefficient. So what is the leading coefficient here? Which is the coefficient of x squared. Here the coefficient of x squared is equals to 3. Now, since this is not equals to 1, we have to find a way to make the coefficient of x squared to be equals to 1. So let's make the coefficient of x squared to be equals to 1. This is by dividing through by what? The coefficient of x squared, which is 3. So that becomes 3x squared divided by 3 minus 13 divided by 3 and then x plus 10 divided by 3 equal to 0 divided by 3. Let's not deprive 0 of its own 3 as well. Okay, so 3 will cancel 3 here. We left it x squared and then minus 13 divided by 3 x and then 10 plus 10 divided by 3. This is equals to what? 0. Okay, so we have been able to achieve the coefficient of x squared to be what? To be 1. We have seen that. So the next thing to do now is to proceed as we did in previous times. The first two questions, we are going to isolate the constant term, and that's going to be by writing it as x squared minus 13 over 3 x equal to negative 10 over 3. So if plus 10 crosses the equal side, it's going to be what? Minus 10 over 3. Because of course 0 minus 10 over 3 will be negative 10 over 3. So what is the next thing to do now is to complete the square on the left hand side. So how do we complete the square on the left hand side? We take the coefficient of what x on the left hand side. The coefficient of x this time around is negative 13 divided by 3. So what do we do to this? We are going to halve it. We are going to multiply by half, and that's going to give us negative 13 over 6. Because minus 13 times 1 is minus 13. 3 times 2 is going to be what? 6. So what do we do to this? We are going to have negative 13 over 6 and square it, which of course is going to be 169 over 36. So that is what we have. That is what will be added to the left hand side to make it a perfect square. So this becomes x squared minus 13 over 3x plus 169 over 36, which makes this of course to become a perfect square. That's going to be equals to negative 10 over 3 rather, plus what? 169 over 36. Because whatever was done to the left hand side has to be done to what? The right hand side as well. So the next thing now, tidy up the left hand side, evaluate the right hand side. So let's tidy up the left hand side. That's going to be by what? X, because this is x squared. And then how did we achieve what is it called? 169. Sorry, we write x squared still minus 13 over 3. I was almost forgetting that. And then plus bracket open negative 13 over 6, which is to be squared. That's the representative of 169 over 36. That's going to be equal to. So what's the lowest common denominator of 3 and 36? As the LCM is what? 36. And 36 divided by 3 is going to give us 12. 12 multiplied by negative 10 will give us negative 120. Plus 36 divided by 36, that's going to be 1. 1 times 169 is going to be 169 still. Okay, so let's tidy this up. X squared will pick only x. Negative 13 over 6, we are going to pick only negative 13 over 6. And these two will be bracketed and be squared. And that's going to be equals to minus 120 plus 169. Of course, that's going to give us 169 minus 120, which will be 49 over 36. Okay, so what's the next thing to do? We'll take the square root of both sides so that we'll be able to deal with this square. So let's take the square root of both sides. We'll take the square root of this one, we'll be left with only x minus 13 over 6. 13 over 6. That's going to be equal to. When we take the square root of the right hand side, we are going to have to introduce our plus and minus sign. And that's going to be plus and minus 49 over 36. So we simplify that. X minus 13 over 6, that's equals to plus and minus. Square root of 49 is going to be 7. And square root of 36 is going to be what? 6. So we have done the evaluation for the square root. The next thing now is to what? Is to collect like terms. Those ones that look alike, collect them together. So we'll be having x, if minus 13 over 6 crosses the equal sign to the other side, it become plus 13 over 6. Then we have plus and minus 7 over 6. So what's the next thing? Is to break them apart. Two solutions embedded in one equation. So we are going to be having x1 will be equals to 13 over 6 plus 7 over 6. And x2 will be equal to 13 over 6 minus 7 over 6. The plus first, then the minus next. Okay, so 13 over 6, common denominator for both of them, that's going to be over 6. 13 plus 7 will actually be equals to what? 20. Which one reduced to the lowest term? X1 will now be equals to what? 10 over 3. That's solution to question, that's solution 1. And for the second one, we're having what? This common denominator is also going to be what? 6. So 13 minus 7, of course, is going to be equals to what? 6. And of course, what will x2 be? 6 divided by 6, that's going to be equal to what? 1. So the second solution is 1. The first solution is 10 over 3. The second solution is 1. So with these 3 questions, I hope we've been able to deal effectively with solving quadratic equations by completing the square method. If you have any questions or any contribution or anything that you are not clear about under this particular topic or concept, please post your question or your concerns in my comment section, and I will do well to attend to every of your comments or every of your question. So till I come your path again, I remain your simple mathematics tutor, Kolawole. Enjoy yourself.